What's the one thing every first-time founder should know? Do your research on the person before you sign anything, because the whole room might already know something about them that you don't. I was 23, fresh out of school, trying to get a small coffee roasting business off the ground. I met Dorian at a co-working space downtown. He was magnetic, knew everybody, dropped names, talked about the 3 companies he'd scaled, always picking up coffees for the room. Within a week, he'd offered to come on as my partner. His connections and capital, my product and hustle. It felt like winning the lottery. I'd sunk my savings and 2 years of weekends into that little roaster, and someone like Dorian believing in it felt like proof I wasn't crazy for trying. We shook on it and started drawing up paperwork almost immediately. The first strange thing happened a few days in. I mentioned to a guy at the co-working space that Dorian was coming on board, and he just went quiet, gave this tight little smile and said, "Oh, him." Then he walked off. I figured he was jealous. Then I told 2 friends from my old program and showed them the deal memo with Dorian's name on it. They went silent for a second, looked at each other, and one of them said, "Wow, you're braver than me." That stung, because Dorian looked like the best thing that had ever happened to my little company. They should have been happy for me. When I asked what they meant, they suddenly got very interested in the menu and changed the subject to some concert. Every time I circled back, they dodged. It bugged me all night. So I brought it up with Dorian. I told him people were acting strange about our partnership. He got angry fast, angrier than made sense. He said the local scene was full of small-minded people who tore down anyone who actually did things, and that I should stop hanging around anyone trying to poison this. "If you want this to work," he said, "you need to stop listening to them." He told me to keep the deal quiet from then on. That should have been the moment. It wasn't. I wanted it to work so badly that I let it go. Looking back, I know what I was doing. I'd wanted this so long that I treated every warning as an obstacle instead of a gift, and the more people hesitated, the harder I defended him. A few days later, a woman I'd met once at a pop-up market pulled me aside and said quietly, "Please just look him up before you give him anything." I was so far in by then, so defensive, that I got short with her. I told her I didn't need saving and walked off. I regret that more than anything, but it lodged in me. That night, instead of signing the documents Dorian had sent, the ones that gave him signing authority on the business account just to move faster, I finally did what everyone had been begging me to do. I searched his name, his old companies, the market woman's name too. She tagged me in a comment on a thread I hadn't seen. The thread was 30 people deep. It was a running channel of former partners. A roaster, a baker, a woodworker, 2 app developers, a florist, every one of them young, every one of them first-timers, every one of them telling the exact same story. The charm, the instant partnership, the capital that never quite arrived, the signing authority just to move faster, then the accounts drained, the connections that turned out to be nothing, and Dorian gone. On to the next hopeful kid with a dream and a bank account. Every third message was another person he'd done the identical thing to. Same lines, same week 1 handshake. Some were still paying off debt he'd run up in their names. That's when it clicked. Everyone who'd gone quiet, everyone who'd called me brave, everyone who'd dodged, they hadn't been jealous. They'd been trying to warn me without becoming his next target. The whole scene knew. I was just the last to find out. I didn't sign. I closed the account he had access to, changed everything, and blocked him. When he realized I'd gone dark, the messages turned from warm to threatening within an hour, which told me everything. I added my own story to that thread the next day, so the next person wouldn't ignore the warning like I almost did. My coffee business is small and slow and completely mine, and I'll take that over a shortcut with the wrong person any day. So here's the one thing every first-time founder should know. When a whole room goes quiet at someone's name, they're not jealous. They're telling you something. Listen the first time.